Hello shape enthusiasts and welcome back to another episode of Shapes 2 on our insane factory difficulty. We are currently in the process of blitzing through all of our tasks to get a bunch of much needed research points so we can unlock some key upgrades. We've already upgraded all our belts to level 3. So we need to either do more sets of upgrades over here, but I think our speed is okay. So we're going to focus on farming 50 points this episode to get our third building floor. Hopefully we've got enough tasks to do that. We're well on our way to doing task number 5, scrambled specimen. As you can see, it just started delivering. We've built it to build this thing that we've just half destroyed. So these two are ready to go. So our staging area 2 will start making navigator badges. So last episode we made 2 staging areas. We've got staging area 1 where we're bringing in all the shapes and all the colors so that we can very easily process whatever we need to process. And analogously, we've got another one over here in staging area 2. We can delete what we've done in staging area 2 because we finished that shape. Now we are sorely missing some platform units, but that's okay because our train system is a lot faster now. So we probably don't need, for example, like 6 trains delivering this. Maybe like we can halve our train units and claim back a lot of platform units that way. So let's get into it. Navigator badge. Let's pin this. That just looks like half a shape. We should be able to make this all out of stars, like 1 star. But we do need red and blue. So we've got red and blue and we've got star over here. So let's get into it. First, I want to start by cutting apart my star. So a cutting 1 to 2 blueprint will cut the star in half. My question is, will another one of these cut the star into 2 quarters? Because half a star is fantastic, but we want to see if that makes 2 quarter stars. No. Or maybe I need to rotate it. I'm not sure if this cutting platform works the way I think it works. Let's just try it. So if we give a clockwise rotation over here, will that give me what I want? No. See how it's oscillating? So I haven't built my cutter to be agnostic like that. So unfortunately, we will have to just cut another one and destroy what we don't need. So what we can do is something like this. Move this out 1 more. Bring that over. Hold on, while this is doing its thing, I might just go back to staging 1 real quick, because all we need to do is remove this half destroyer over here, belt that over, and that should give us the full shape that we need. We set up for that last episode. So we'll just have that going while we wait for this. So we've got our half shape here. We will need to bin the other half of a shape. And then over here, we've got 2 of these half shapes, which we can now bring down like this, and then put it into some sort of rotation and half destroy. So if we just rotate it in any direction, for example, counterclockwise, and then just half destroy it again, that should get us our 2 quarters. I do have a full to 4 quarters blueprint, but that requires a 2x2 platform, which we don't have. But now we have our quarters, we can make 1 red and 1 blue. So it makes sense to paint this one red. Like this. And then our blue paint comes from here. So it makes sense to paint this one blue. Like this. And now we just need to stack these on top of each other. Now they're coming over the same. The blue's in the right position. If we just make the red counterclockwise rotated, it should be in the right position. Like that. Grab our stacker like that. Bring that over. Now we need this in the right position. So this needs to go through a 180-degree rotation. And then we just need to stack this and this, where the colored bit is on top and the not colored bit is on the bottom. So we should be able to go down, under, up, and in like that. And that should get us the shape that we need. And we'll just have to wait for a bit to verify that is working correctly. If you're enjoying the video and you want to support Data Engineer Plays, don't forget to leave a like and hit that subscribe button. And if you have any feedback or suggestions, feel free to share them in the comment section. Hey, my shape preview is working again, and it is confirmed that this is the correct iteration of the shape. So we'll let that all deliver. Our staging 1 is indeed hard at work delivering this, and we can see we have way too many trains. Can we see visually how many trains are required to deliver this? It looks like only ever 3 are going at any given time. Now that we have faster trains, we should be able to delete like a lot of this, reclaim some platform units. We can check out milestone 1 for this because we've got 1 billion trains here delivering milestone 1. And we can see if we look at our milestone 1, our inputs are completely full. So do we need 10 billion trains over here? Probably not. Let's halve it and see if it still continues on. And then over here, we can see that this train system is also completely unnecessary. So let's get rid of half of that. And now over here, we can see there's a bunch of trains, at least 3 that are not getting anything, because this cargo station is always empty. So we can get rid of at least 3 trains here, and then we'll see if the rest work. Similarly, in milestone 2, we can maybe get rid of a few trains somewhere. If we zoom out to look at milestone 2, or we can look at the platform on milestone 2, nothing's happening. Why? Have we not been delivering milestone? We have been delivering milestone 2. I'm not going crazy. All my trains are coming back now. There's 1 lot of trains. There's a second lot of trains. And then here comes the 3rd lot of trains. We probably what we want to do is space these trains out a little bit. So we probably don't need like so many trains, but we just want to space them out a little bit so that they don't all come at the same time. But that's fine. This shape is almost done. So let's head back to staging 1 and figure out what the next iteration of this shape is. We need to make this, which from here is just a completely different shape. We've got a green thing, and then 2 diagonal things. So we just need to completely gut what we've done and start again. Every single task shape is just a completely different shape. It's crazy. So I believe that task is now done. So I'm going to gut everything that we've done here, and we're just going to start from scratch. So we'll complete this task, and then we're going to start working on the next iteration of that task. Now we just need 2 emeralds. Oops. One of them needs to be painted red, and one of them needs to be painted green. So we'll get some painters in. And then we just need to get this star over here. And the star just needs to go from full to 2 diagonals. And then we'll have to rotate one of these diagonals and whatnot. So the first layer is red and green. So let's get our 2 painters in. 1 painter can go here, and 1 painter can go here. Like that. Let's get our red paint in. Then let's get our green paint in. We'll go underneath. Let me get rid of this. We'll bring our green paint underneath, and then up. Bring our green paint underneath, and then up. And that should get our red shape and our green shape, into which we can just stack it. And we want the red shape on top, like this. Bring that in. So that's our 2nd and 3rd. Wait, no. Is there something in between these layer of shapes? Sorry, my bad. So the green shape would need to stack with one of these. I'm just going to bring this out 1 tile. This green shape is on top. So let's get our stacker. And do something like that. And direction doesn't really matter. Then from here, we need to stack on this one. So this green shape that's coming out of this stacker needs to be on the bottom. And then we need to stack on this. Ah, but there's not enough space. If I put in one more space over here, we need to rotate this 90 degrees and then stack it in. So in theory, we should be able to put in any rotator. Turn that. And that should get us our top 3 layers of that shape. And then we just need to stack the red on top like this. And that. And then that should give us our shape. Fantastic. Claim that. Now, not having the vortex launcher is actually super annoying. That means all my trains will always have to make a return trip. So it basically just slows the whole game down a lot more, which is a little bit unfortunate, given my staging areas are like so far away. Normally with a vortex launcher, they don't have to make the return trip. They just go over, drop off their load, and then they're done. So we were fine with our staging area back here. But because of the fact that it needs a vortex launcher, it kind of sucks. So we might want to move our staging area like a little bit closer at some point and just have the emeralds transported by train or something like that. That way we don't have to do all our staging back all the way back here, but we'll decide about that later. For now, we just want to make sure this shape is indeed coming out correct. And I believe it is. Fantastic. Got it first time round. Back to staging 2. This shape is almost done, so let's see what the second iteration of this shape involves. It's basically the same shape on top, but below it is this square circle thing, which is a little bit annoying to make. We have to make it from quarters. Twice. Is there an easier way to make this? Not really. We're gonna just have to make it from quarters. So let's make it back here. We need a red square and a blue circle, which the colors here are opposite. So I'm going to bring this underneath to get the paint going. Now we can cutting 1 to 2 this. And then we can just half destroy it after rotating. So basically this same process to get the quarters that we need. Like that. That'll get us our 2 quarter squares. No shape preview. Fantastic. We'll just have to have faith that's getting our 2 quarter squares. One of the quarter squares will need to become red. So we'll get our painter. Like this. But on the right level. We'll get our paint in. So that's our red quarter square. And it doesn't matter what we stack it with. Well, we want the red kind of... Was this rotated correctly? Yeah, it is. So we want our red on the top right. And in theory, it's on the bottom left. So we need a counterclockwise rotation on this. And now we just need to stack these two. I might just put it facing this way. And then we'll get our stacker, and direction doesn't matter in this case. And that should get our top right one where we've got, wait, direction does matter. We need the uncolored one on top, which is this one. Yeah, so this is correct. So this should in theory get us our top right quadrant, which is a red an uncolored square stacked on a red square. And then similarly, we need the blue like over here and down out here somewhere to do the circles. So we need exactly the same setup in our circle somewhere. So we'll do it like that. Then we just need to get the blue into the blue painter, which I believe is that the painter? Yeah. So we'll just take this up and in, and that should get us our blue stacked on the blue. And now it's going to be in the top right quadrant. So the easiest way to get that is just a clockwise rotation on this. And now we just need to stack this one and this one together. So we'll bring them both downstairs, I guess, and then we'll put the stacker like here. No, but then this is all in the way. Oh well, we'll just do it a little bit dirty. Bring that down. And we'll just bring it around. It'll be a bit slow, but that's fine. We just put our stacker on here, bring our belt up like that. That should get our correct final shape. We should be able to see that this is indeed the red. Wait, this isn't stacked properly. Hold on. Why do I need a rotator here? I don't want to rotate it because I want to stack it on top of one another. Like this. Similarly with this, we don't want a rotator. We just want to stack it on top of one another, then rotate the whole thing and then stack it together. We don't want to rotate this one. We want to rotate this one. Just wait for a bit to see if that's giving us the correct shape. But in theory, once it does give us the correct shape, we just need to stack this onto this. So let's just clear out this. Bring this over like that. This is on top, that's on the bottom. And that should get us the shape that we want. Let's verify that. That looks indeed like what we want. And that's at the correct orientation. And this thing is also coming out at the correct orientation. Once it does its loop across, it should give us what we need. Let's take our points. And let's start working on the last iteration of this shape too. This shape has just completely changed. Like we don't need any diamonds or emeralds. Now it's just all circles. So can't we just go to staging 1 and just start making this shape? What is this? Diagonal green circle, diagonal green circle, diagonal red circle, diagonal red circle. So we just need 3 circles split all into diagonals. Like this. Full to 2 diagonals. Here, here, and say here. Give plenty of room to work. One of them is green, one of them is red. Maybe we should paint it before we split it. So we get a painter going here. Like this. Get the red paint coming in here. Get another painter over here. Get the green paint going here. Like that. Then we've got our diagonals. Now we can piece it all together. So the bottom layer is just a green diagonal. So we need to merge a red and green diagonal, which is here and here. So we'll give one of these a 90-degree rotation. Then we'll stack them. Like that. So that's our second layer. Onto our second layer, we need to stack the first layer. Maybe we rotate the green one and do it the other way. Like this. That way we can directly stack this green layer on the bottom. Like this. And that should be our first and second layer done. Our third layer is a red and uncolored. So if we rotate one of these, probably the red. And stack it with the uncolored. Say like over here somewhere. Do something like this. Bring that down across and up like that. And then these two should just stack with this thing on top. Like this. That should get us our first 3 layers. And on the very top, we just need to rotate and stack one of these. So we'll get our rotator. And then this thing needs to be on top. And this thing needs to be on the bottom. And then we should just be able to bring that into the station. Cut this. Flush this. And we can get rid of all this. Claim these points. We're at 19 now. Not too far. Let's head back to staging 2 to see how this is going. Does that indeed look like the shape that I want? I think so. Now I'm going to do a little hack to get this going a little bit faster, which is these trains can all be reset because it takes so long for them to come back. So I'm going to respawn like half of these trains so we can flush out this platform. We actually don't need this many trains. We just needed to reset a couple of them. And that way that will start going. We'll claim some operator levels as well. And that's staging 1 and 2 done. Now we can put it together as staging 3, but since we have 800 platform units, it's high time we get milestone 3 going. So let's go back to our operator and let's have a look at milestone 3. Now basically needs every color and the shape actually changes from here to here. You can see the top 2 layers of this shape is not actually this shape. So this red bit actually changes to a quarter diamond thing later. And down the bottom is also not really this shape. So what we'll do is we'll make this and then we'll just gut it and make this separately somewhere else at the end. We'll rebuild it, I guess. But there's no easy way to make this shape. So we're just gonna figure out where we can put this. And we'll do it in isolation. So if we go back out home, where can we make this shape? Do we have a conveniently located blue star? And do we have a conveniently located red next to it? This is kind of close. And then we've got a red here. So we can kind of do it here if we just take out this quarter. And there's a blue right here. So I guess we'll just do that here and then we'll bring it over to this red. And then we'll paint the red here. I think that's okay. We've got 800 platform units. We should be able to make this work. So let's shape extract this. And then we will go in here and we'll go our full to 3/4. And what does that give me? Why does this give me a different shape to this? What? Oh wait, that's a jump. Never mind. That gives us the 3/4 that we need. So the full to 3/4 cuts out the top right quadrant. Then if we go over here and put our fluid miner over here, bring that over, bring a painter, bring that in. That should get us our bit that we need in blue. Then we need to bring it all the way down here. Oh, but then the red that I'm using here is not big enough to do this. Is it? It should be just big enough. Let's see if we can fit a fluid miner over here. And then we can fit a shape miner over here. Take the quarter that we need. Bring it across over here and get that painted like this. And that should be our red quarter. And then we just need to put that red quarter into the hole of this, which, where is the hole? The hole is in the top right. So we need to move this back to the top right, which should just be a counterclockwise rotation. And then if we bring this down and over, and then stack that, like this, bring this up. This should in theory be what we need. Now, we do need more input now because we want to do more stuff at the same time. So we will have to invest because we don't have the vortex launcher. I was kind of hoping we have a vortex launcher, but obviously we don't in hard mode. So we will have to invest in more vortex inputs. Unfortunately, that's going to take some of our points, but now we should be able to move some of these like this, do that, that, Copy that up. And that should be okay. And now we need to do these ones. So like that, that. We need to do the same thing here. Like that. Then this needs to go in here. Like that. This needs to go in here. Like that. And then theoretically I should be able to copy all that. Push it up one. And that should be okay. And that gets us our... Hey, look, we've got our shape preview. Nice. And that should get us our first milestone 3 shape. Now, back to this. We still want to focus on our tasks, not our milestone. We're just going to work on our milestone while we can. That's going. So back to staging 2, we need to make a completely different shape to what we're making right now. It is just a completely different shape, right? It's 3/4 of that. Is there anything we can reuse? The stars. Kind of. So we've got to make a slight modification to the way the stars work, in that this thing that we're doing here now needs to become a full to 2 diagonals. Like this. So I'll put a bin here. It doesn't need a rotator anymore. Then we've got our red and green, blue stars over here that we're merging, but they need to change orientation. So currently one's going down this way and one's pointing up that way. So this rotation needs to be 180. And in theory, that should then give us the exact same shape that we have. So that's going this way. And now that should go up, pointing up north. Which it is. Which will give us the correct shape here. Now we just need the correct shape here. So this half remains the same. We just need to put a blue circle on top of it. So we can just borrow the circles from here. And we can go cutter 1 to 2. It needs to be blue. So we'll take the blue from here. Over here somewhere. Get a painter in. Like this. Or we can just put the painter right on top of it. Bring that blue in. So that'll get our blue half circle. And then on top of that, we need to stack the regular half circle. So let's get our stacker. Like that. And that should get us our circle on a circle. And then we need to just stack it with this thing. I feel like it's already in the right orientation as well. The uncolored circle needs to be on top though. So like this. Then it doesn't matter what order we stack this in. Like that. And that should get us this shape. Let me just flush this. Let's see if this shape is coming out correctly first. Why can't I zoom in anymore? So that is giving us our correct diagonal bit. And it is stacked on top of the normal diagonal bit. Just remember that it's rotated incorrectly. Now we just got to make sure this bit is coming out correctly. That is indeed getting our blue on blue. That is indeed on the right half of the shape. So we just need to rotate what's coming out of here. Or we can rotate this. Easier to just rotate this. Give that a 90-degree rotation. And then we just need to stack it with this bit on top, that bit on the bottom. And that should be the changes that we need. Not too bad of a modification. This shape is finally done. So now we can work on a brand new shape called pushing the limit. All right. This shape looks absolutely insane. 1, 2, 3. Is this 5 layers? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-layer shapes. Yes, that's the fun thing of Insane, is that they give you 5-layer shapes to do. We should really... That means we need to increase all our staging areas to 5 layers in case, say, you get 5 circles, right? If there's ever a shape with like 5 circles stacked on top of one another later down the track, we might need up to 5 layers in each staging area. That's fine. We'll start working on this for now. So we'll go back to staging 1. We'll give that a bit of a clear out. Go down here, clear this out as well. And we can start working on this shape. So I'm seeing full to 2 diagonals and some green and blue. So let's start with the emerald. So one of my emeralds needs to go to full diagonal, but we only need 1 iteration for now. So let's chuck a bin on one of them. The other one is 2 square quarters. So there's an easy way to do this or a hard way. The easy way is just bring 2 belts of squares, right? And then just quarter cut them because I'm lazy. And people are like, why are you wasting shapes? And I'm like, because I'm lazy. So then we need 2 painters, like this and like this. And what we need to paint with is blue. And the other thing we need to paint with is green, like that. Now, one of these needs a 180-degree rotation. And then we just simply need to stack these on top of each other. It doesn't matter what order. Now we take our diagonal and we figure out what orientation this is and then stack. So this diagonal is going this way. So we're rotating this thing 180. So theoretically that should be the correct shape. We need this on the bottom and the colored bit, no, the colored part needs to be on the bottom. Wait. This matters, no, it doesn't matter. So confusing. The colored bit needs to be on the bottom. So we need to do that. And in theory, that should be the shape that we want. We'll come back and check in on that in a bit. Let's go back to staging 2, make sure this is being delivered correctly. The red and the red needs to face together. So this thing needs to be the other way. So it's a clockwise rotation. And then that should be correct. Let's just verify that before I go so we can get this shape going. And I think that would be the correct shape. Fantastic. Let's go back to home. We've finished delivering this first iteration of the shape. We should probably start working on this shape. Is there anywhere convenient I can do that? Close to base? Maybe something with a green circle bit already? I don't see anything close to base we can use for this. So we're gonna have to build this up from maybe... Is there a full circle near a green somewhere? There's that. And then is there 2 squares? We can get 2 squares out of this. Is there a red? The red's there. Or there. Green, 2 circles, and a red. There's got to be somewhere better we can do this. Let me look around. Let's just do it up here in case we need more space for whatever. So we're going to go green circle. There's the circle. There's the green. Bring that to here. Get that painted. Like that. There's our green circles. Now we need to full to 2 diagonal it. Need to bin one side of it. And that should be our diagonal part. Now we need a red and uncolored square. So we can do that here. We're just gonna mine this out twice. Quarter destroy it. Get our fluid miner. Paint that. Rotate one of these. $180 degrees. Get that stacked together. Like this. And that should get us our other diagonal part. And now we need to merge these two together. So we'll bring it closer to base. Like here. And then we'll see if this is in the correct orientation. Well, it's going to take ages for this green paint to come across, but I believe my diagonals are always this way. So we probably need to rotate this. What direction is this coming out of? Hold on, this doesn't even give me my square. Let me move all this out one tile. We've got to get the rotation in first and then quarter destroy it. So we want the square, so we need to put it at top right, which is a clockwise rotation. Then we need to quarter destroy it. Then we bring it into the painter. And then one of these needs to rotate. It'll be at the bottom left. So one of these needs to rotate to the top right. I believe it's a 180 degree rotation, but we'll see when it comes out. Still takes ages for the paint to arrive. Alright, in the meantime, this shape is done. So we can start working on the second iteration of it. Anything we can reuse. This bottom part of the shape looks the same. But unfortunately, we're going to need to stack on the red and the green part now. Before we stack on the second layer. Alright, that's fine. Let's head over to staging 1. Now the lazy way to do this is just to grab 2 more emeralds. And again, we will do this. And we'll put that, say, here. Bring that there. Bring that there. And that's my 2 quarter emeralds. And we need to paint 1 blue. That will come underneath. And paint that blue. And then this is already down here. So we can go around. Like this. Bring it around here and up. That gets me my 2 bits here. And basically we need to do the identical thing here. And that should give me my blue emerald. Which we need to now stack with this first. But that's going like that. And we don't know what direction this is going to go in. While we're waiting, let's get this shape sorted out. So it's like this. And over here, we're getting this shape in the same orientation. So just one of these needs to rotate 90 degrees. And then we just stack them on top of each other. Direction doesn't matter. Do that there. And that should get me the shape that I need, which we will bring back to base. And that's going to take forever to bring back to base. But that's fine. Time is not an issue. So we'll just let that travel back to base. Now we need to delete this. Oh, but this is delivering. That's fine. We're going to delete this. We'll copy this. And then we'll flip it. And in theory, some sort of rotation should get me exactly what I need. Like that. And then flip it again. And that should be exactly what we need. Alright, that shape's going. This thing's almost done. Well, with this batch, it should definitely be done. Let's go back to staging 1. Let's have a look at what this shape is doing. So we've got the blue there. and then the uncolored there. So we give either one of these a rotation, and then we just stack them on top of each other. Like this. Bring that in. That should be the second layer of that shape. That's this emerald layer, and that emerald layer needs to go on top of this layer. What direction is this coming out in? The blue is in the top right. Let's just have everything rotated correctly, just to stop confusing myself. So the blue needs to be on the top right, which is a clockwise 90-degree rotation. Then this thing, the blue needs to be on the bottom right. So it's a 180-degree rotation. So we'll bring that over. Rotate that 180 degrees. And now they should all be in the right orientation. So I should be able to just stack that on top. And the bottom layer is this square thing. So that should be that. And then on the very top, we need a diagonal circles. So we need our full to 2 diagonals with a bin again. Over here somewhere. Do it on this one so we have space. And that should get in the correct orientation. So we just need to bring it over and then just stack it somewhere. Where this thing is on the bottom and this thing is on top. Like that. Then that should be the correct shape that we need. Now, while that's doing its thing, we're going to unlock this and do the next part of this shape, which looks like a completely different shape. Fantastic. Let's head over to staging 2. I don't think we can use anything we've done here, so I'm going to go ahead and just delete all this. And we'll just start from scratch because the shape has completely changed. In fact, we need another color we don't even have here, which is green. We don't have fluid wagons yet either, so we're just going to have to bring a belt of greens over. But now we only need one belt of greens. So we can just grab it. I think this is the closest one, or this one. Not really sure. But we'll get the greens starting to travel since we have the belt capacity to do so now. We'll bring it over here, go under. Bring it back up, and then we'll get it to travel next to the blue. So, what are we trying to make over here? And what's the easiest way to make it? So if we cut the diagonals first, yeah, we're gonna separate it. So we're gonna need 2 iterations of this. Normally, if the shapes were the same color, we would use swappers to make the shape first and then color it, but because it's 2 different sets of color, we're going to need 2 different sets of painting. So we're going to need full to 2 diagonals twice, 1 on the circles, so we'll do that on the circles. Then one of them needs to be painted green, so I'm going to bring the green down and across over here. Then we'll bring that over here into a painter. Like that. And then we'll just bring this over like that. That should get us our diagonal green. Then we've got the uncolored diagonals, which is this one. Then we've got... Wait, sorry, that's the circles. Why do we want the circles to be green? We want the circles to be blue. Yeah, the circle needs to be blue. And then we can kind of stack this as we go to save space, because the blue circle just goes onto the regular circle. So if we get ourselves a stacker, direction doesn't really matter. If I did it like this, for example, that should get us this diagonal part. The blue, wait, no, direction does matter. The blue needs to be on the bottom. Like that. Now we need to do the same thing for the emeralds, which is over here. Wait, where's my emeralds? Do I not have emeralds here? Oh, my staging 2 doesn't have emeralds yet. Okay, so we've got to bring the emeralds over, but our emeralds are right here. So we brought it over by belt. That's why we did this whole exercise over here. So we've brought it over by belt like this. There's our emerald belt. So we need to do the same thing as we've done. Say over here. Bring that in. And that should be our diagonal emeralds. But we need to paint it green. One of them. So we've got our green paint over here. I'm going to go underneath. Like that. To just keep that open. And now we've got our green emeralds stacked on top of our... We need to swap this order though. So the green emerald is on top. Like that. And now we should, in theory, have both of these shapes. And we will stack them at some point, but we need to rotate one of them. While that's sorting itself out, we should make our little 2 arrow bits. So that's got 4 belts of thing. If we just split these belts, we should be able to quarter them. Like this. One of the quarters needs to be painted red. So we'll get our painter. Like this. And then we'll bring our red underneath. A bit janky. But it's okay. That gets our red in. Now the red needs to go on top of the normal one. So let's get our stacker. So red's on top. And our uncolored quarter is on the bottom. Yes. Now, that is coming out. This should be coming out soon. Oop. One of these needs to rotate 90 degrees. I just want to rotate everything into the right orientation. So let's rotate this one clockwise. And now that should get my arrow pointing bottom left. The blue and this thing needs to be rotated 90 degrees. Like this. And then into a stacker you go. This one's orientation doesn't matter. So we should be able to just do something like this. Why am I doing this the complicated way? And now that should get me my bottom 2 layers, and that should be my top 2 layers, and everything should be facing the right direction. And if I just bring that out, this is my bottom layer, and that's my top layer. So I want something like this, that, and that. That should, in theory, get me my shape going. Let's check back in on staging 1 to see if we are delivering the correct shape. Zoom in a lot to have a look. That indeed looks like the correct shape to me. Fantastic. How's our train system going? Where are our trains? Are they trying to deliver the shape? Something's wrong over here. Ah, this thing's blocking my trains. Great. I'm going to go back to staging 1 and just do a little quick cheeky respawn on 2 of them. And that way, that'll get our shapes going. Now we've got some operator levels to claim and we're nearly at 50 points. Now this shape is going, that's great. We got to get this shape going as well. So if we go back to home, this shape is a little bit annoying, but we can do a little cheeky hack. Because we've got a belt over here, we can make our 3/4 emeralds using this. So if we minor out this emerald and do it twice, do a cheeky 180-degree rotation on one of them, and then quarter destroy that. That's our quarter of an emerald. Then do a counterclockwise rotation on this one and give it a cheeky half destroy. That should get us our emerald. So this half will be on the right, this will be on the bottom left. So if I rotate this now clockwise, then stack it like this, that should get us our 3/4 of an emerald. Now we need to paint that red, and we don't have enough red paint, so we're just gonna have to make do with what we have, which if we take this one, I don't want to bring red paint from God knows where. We're just gonna bring the red paint from here. Then we're gonna bring this shape over to our red paint, like here somewhere. Then we'll get our painter. We're gonna mark one painter, just so the shape doesn't jam in case. We'll get that in here. Remember, our speed is not our issue, so we don't need to be hyper efficient with this. Oh, right. Sorry, that's 3/4 of the shape. We haven't pieced together a quarter of a square yet, which we can take from anywhere. So let me just cut somewhere here. We'll just take the square from here. It doesn't really matter. So we'll get a miner over here on our square. We'll loop that around. Remember, we're going to destroy this almost immediately. So I know what I'm doing is super dirty, but I have the platform units to do it. So why not? We'll quarter cut the square. And then we'll bring it over to here. And then we'll stack the square in. So the square will be in the bottom right hand corner. The hole is in the top right. So we need to flip that around, which is a 180-degree rotation. Then we just need to stack these on top of each other. Like that. And then link that. Paint that red. Once that shape comes out, that should give me the correct shape. Then we just need to stack it on with our existing shape that's being delivered, which is this. But I don't know at the moment what orientation this is in, because this arrow is pointing to the top right. We need our square bit pointing to the top right, which it's not. It's pointing to the top left, which is a counterclockwise rotation. To get that out. Then in theory, we just bring this over. We'll go underneath. Find a nice straight path. And then pop it back up. Then at some point over here, we just need to put that at the bottom and that at the top. Like that. Theoretically, that should be our shape if I've done everything correctly. This thing's now been delivered, so we can unlock and start working on this next bit. Fantastic. Before we do that, we'll check in on staging 2 to make sure this shape is indeed correct. Does that look correct to you guys? No, something's not painted blue. The thing is meant to be blue and green, not uncolored and green. So this is meant to be blue. That's an easy fix. Just bring the blue out and up, and then bring that in. Now, I don't think I've got the right throughput for the blue. So if I need a second belt of blue, I really should, oh man, why did I put my green over here? It's gonna be a little bit dirty. I'm just gonna link it up like this, because we're gonna change this staging area very soon. So that's my second belt of blue. Am I using 2 belts of green? No, I'm only using 1 belt of green. That's fine. So that should be fine. I'm gonna just empty out this, because we don't need this. In fact, I should empty out this whole thing. Not the whole thing. It's fine. We'll just let it do its thing. We're in no rush anyway. So that milestone 3 shape is delivered, but I want to focus on my pin task first. So while we check if that's working now, back at staging 1, we need to make the next iteration of this shape, which can we use anything from this shape? So we're currently making this shape. The bottom layer looks the same. The second layer looks the same. The top layer looks the same, except we're stacking now a star on top of this. Wait, what? So we've got the uncolored part. We just need to stack a red star and then a red circle on top of it. Okay. So where's my star? It's over here. We can cut it like that. That should get me my quarter star. It needs to be painted red. So I need to bring a red belt somehow all the way over to the other side. Can I just jump? We don't have launchers anymore, do we? No, we don't have launchers anymore in space. So we need to find a path to bring the red all the way over. Something like that. Then we need to paint the red star. So let's grab our painter. Like this. And then we'll bring that over like that. And that should be our red star. Now, what orientation is this thing in? We're going to need to bring the red star over here somewhere and stack it on top. But is this in the correct orientation? It is. So I want my red star rotated. Like that. And then we can just stack it. Like this. So that should get my red star part. And now I need my red half circle. So there's a half circle here. And my red is over here. So if I just did that, and I can take this circle and go paint it red. Grab a painter. Do something like that. Bring the paint in. Then we can bring the result of that out this way. And stack it with this somehow. And that red bit goes on the very top. So like that. And like that. And like that. Done. That should be that shape. Let's go back to staging 2 and see if this shape is indeed correct. The bottom layer looks correct to me. That looks correct. That looks correct. All right, good. Happy with that. Let's go back to home and see if this milestone shape is now delivering. That looks wrong. Something's wrong with the rotation. Didn't I rotate this somewhere? Or we just will just rotate it here. We just need to put the square and the thing at the right rotation. So if the square needs to be on the top right, we just need a 180-degree rotation. I'm sure I'm over-rotating this at some point, but that's okay. As long as it works, we're going to gut all this anyway. So we should work on a milestone this. The bottom layer stays the same. We just need to make this thing, which can we do that anywhere close to here? Or maybe somewhere along the path here. So we would need a green. That's all we need. A green. I see a green here. Can we make the rest of this shape using this green? That way we can intercept it somewhere close by. We can make it from quarters with the shapes around here. And we have 417 platform units. So we could, for example, steal an emerald from here, paint that green, grab 2 quarter circles from here, and then grab another emerald from here. I think that'll work. It is a plan, so let's execute on it. So we need 2 quarter emeralds, which means we need 180-degree rotators over here, then 2 quarter cutters. One of these emeralds needs to be green, so we'll bring it to the green. We can share a belt. They're the same shape. But we need to then split this into its uncolored part and its colored part. Then what we need to do is paint this one like this. Then stack it on top of the non-colored part, which we will rotate 180 degrees. Then stacker it like that. And that should get me my diagonal part of the emerald. Now I need my diagonal part of a circle, which we can take from here. Yeah, that makes sense to me. I'm going to get rid of this thing. I don't need it anymore. So we'll bring this over. And if we extract this circle with a miner, Oh, it's like one short. No, it's not. We'll force it in there, and then we'll do that. Then we'll get our full to 2 diagonals. We'll bin one side of it. And then we just need to merge this. We know our full to 2 diagonals goes this way. And let's see what size shape this comes out at. So we know it's all at the bottom right corner, right? Wait, let's make sure this is cutting the correct shape that we need. This is not even giving me the correct shape that I want. That's not a 180-degree rotation. We need to counterclockwise rotate this. Because I want my emerald, right? So that'll get me my emerald into the bottom right-hand corner. And if I'm 180 rotating it, it's going to be the same direction. So we need to rotate one of these 90 degrees. So we'll do this one. Doesn't matter what direction we do that in. Then we should be able to stack both of these. That should get us our top layer of this shape. And then we just need to place that there. Now, where is the... We don't even know what rotation these are in. But essentially, we need to bring this over to here. And then do some sort of stacking over here. We just don't know what orientation it needs to be in. But we can just placeholder our stacker for now while it sort of saturates the belt. Like this. And connect these two, and that should be good. Hook that in here. Wait, we know this is an issue, right? Gotta give it the room. Like that. Get that connected, get that connected. Need room for the train to do its loop-de-loop. Fantastic. So staging 2 is going, that's going. This is going slowly. This staging 1. Let's see if that's the correct shape that we want. Looks awfully like the correct shape that we want. We've got 2 trains worth of that shape going and 2 trains on their way back. Cool. Everything is going. How are we doing over here? So the green's coming out. The green's at the bottom right and it never gets rotated. So now we know the green's at the bottom right. We can figure out this. We need to get the red to the right orientation. So that's a 180-degree rotation here. Like that. And that should get us this milestone shape. And when we work on the final milestone shape, we're just going to gut this and go put this factory somewhere. Hopefully we'll have our Mark III buildings after this, because we'll have 50 points very soon. Hopefully. If we go back to our staging 2 area, we can see that we've got 1 package of trains. So we can probably just reset 1 train. It's probably not a good idea to reset the train, because what if I reset the train that's currently carrying it? We definitely need to move our staging closer, because otherwise this staging is going to take forever. Now the reason why I put that staging there was because of the windmill shape. Well, the reason I put this staging here was because I assumed that one day I could very easily vortex launch things, but that was a mistake. This is the closest windmill shape, but we probably want to like train the windmill shape like halfway somewhere here and find somewhere that has the other shapes that we need along the way. Like if we train the windmill shape over to the square, and then we just need a full star. Is there a full star somewhere? Closest full star is here. Oh, there's a full star here. So if we brought this all over here, we could save so much more time. So we use the full star here. We bring the windmill over to like, say here. And where's my RGB gonna be? My RGB can be like here, here, and here, I guess. And then over here we can stage it, and that'll like cut half the distance over here. But we'll do that when we do stage 3. So we can unlock that. Hey, we've got it. We've got it, guys. We have got 50 research points. unlocking us our 3rd floor building. So we can unlock that now, and that will make our lives so much easier. So now we've got this as well. We're gonna have to move on to this shape, but we'll do all that next episode. For now, I think we'll leave it here. This is going. Let's just make sure our milestone 3 shape is going. I believe it is. It's gonna take a while for it to saturate, but that is definitely the top shape, and that is rotated correctly. So that should definitely get me my shape that I want. Let me flush this. Yep, everything's going well. Cool, so we've got our 3rd floor unlocked. Next episode, we will utilize that 3rd floor to rebuild a lot of what we've done. And now that we know we don't have a vortex launcher, we might just rebuild all the train stations much closer. If you don't want to miss out on that, don't forget to leave a like and sub, and I'll see you all in the next video. Thanks for watching.